found a pretty interesting story not too long ago. As some of you may or may not remember, I did a few videos the end of last year and even the very beginning of this year about Guitar Center filing for bankruptcy back in November. So what difference a year makes? We'll cut to the chase. Last time I talked about Guitar Center, they were just about to start on their used gear buyback program again, and shelves were basically empty of anything that was used. Since then, they have changed up their products quite a bit. Something I've noticed over the year, you don't see a lot of Boss pedals anymore. You don't see a lot of MXR pedals anymore. You see a lot more boutique-ish type pedals like Walrus Audio. You see stuff like the Keeley Dark Side pedal. You see stuff like Strymon, the Big Sky, and stuff like that. Stuff that generally didn't get sold in Guitar Center prior to 2021. Now the guitar shelves still kind of have some bare spots. And I've asked my local Guitar Center folks, where all the used stuff is, and apparently they sell it pretty quick because it's never there when I'm there. When we reported on the bankruptcy, shed off about $800 million in debt, which left their debt load at about $350 million worth of debt. They had raised capital. They still have Ares Management as one of their main investors. They gained Brigade and Carlyle Group. This was recently reported in the Retail Dive that they had kind of quietly filed an S1 filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which means that they're planning an IPO. That means they've been doing well enough this past year that they're actually thinking about being traded on the stock market again. Why would Guitar Center do this? Well, theoretically, what would happen is Ares Group, the Carlyle Group, and Brigade Management, they would all get preferred shares of the company that would equate to their percentage of ownership or stake in the company. So that way they can exit that position should they decide that, hey, things are going well, we're going to go ahead and cash out. That's kind of Guitar Center's way of shedding off some of this remaining responsibility that they have. And it's also a way of them raising capital to maybe pay off that remaining $350 million in debt. It's a good thing on one hand. However, this is where I start getting skeptical because there's nothing more uncertain than the stock market. People have been predicting a crash forever, and when a crash finally did happen last year, it didn't last long, but the economy is still on sketchy grounds as far as most investors are concerned. I mean, just too many questions up in the air. I think it's a little bit more risk than maybe I would want to take on, but I think that there's potential for Guitar Center to maybe raise enough funds to pay off some of this remaining debt. However, I'm just very skeptical about the idea of the IPO just because of how quickly things can turn south. A lot of companies that file IPOs, they see their stock price drop at first, and then it either takes off or it doesn't. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. It's anybody's guess at this point. If you enjoyed today's content, please hit the subscribe button and leave your opinion about this whole filing deal, because this is pretty interesting. I'll see you next time.